I never thought I'd be the kind of person to say no to family. But when my sister's lawyer called me 3 weeks ago and asked if I'd take custody of Emma, my dead sister's 6-month-old daughter, I said no. And now everyone thinks I'm a monster. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Who's the Villain AITA and hit that like button. And tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I need to give context because this isn't as simple as it sounds. My sister Rachel, 32F, and I, 29F, were never close. Not in that sibling rivalry way, but in a we're fundamentally different people who happen to share DNA way. Rachel was the wild one, impulsive, chaotic, brilliant in flashes, but incapable of following through on anything. I was the responsible one, the planner, the one who cleaned up messes. Rachel got pregnant last year. She didn't tell anyone who the father was, just showed up to Thanksgiving dinner with a bump and this manic energy, talking about how motherhood was going to fix her and give her purpose. My mom cried happy tears. My dad looked worried but said nothing. I kept my mouth shut because what was I supposed to say? That I'd heard this story before with Rachel's 3 abandoned business ventures, 2 crashed cars, and 1 bankruptcy? Emma was born premature in April. Rachel seemed to love her, at least in the Instagram way, posting endless photos with captions about my miracle and worth the wait. But behind the scenes, she was struggling. Postpartum depression maybe, or just the reality that babies don't sleep and don't care about your feelings. She'd call me at 2 a.m. sobbing because Emma wouldn't stop crying. She'd ask to borrow money for formula, then I'd see charges on her credit card for DoorDash and online shopping. Rachel, you need help, I told her in June. Real help, therapy, maybe medication, and you need to figure out your finances. You always think you know better than me, she snapped back. You've never had a kid. You don't understand. She was right. I don't have kids. My husband James, 31M, and I have been married for 4 years, and we've been very clear. No children. We both work demanding jobs. I'm a financial analyst. He's a software engineer. We value our freedom, and honestly, we've seen what parenting does to people. The exhaustion, the loss of identity, the constant sacrifice. It's not for us. Rachel died 7 weeks ago. Car accident. She was driving home from her friend's house at midnight. Emma was with my parents, and she ran a red light. The other driver walked away with bruises. Rachel died on impact. The funeral was surreal. Everyone kept saying how tragic it was, how Emma would never know her mother, how someone needed to step up for this innocent baby. The way people looked at me, I felt it. The expectation. The judgment already forming before anyone even asked. My mom pulled me aside at the reception. We need to talk about Emma. I know, I said. What are you and Dad thinking? She looked at me like I'd just spoken in tongues. What are we thinking? Honey, we're 67 and 69 years old. Your father has a bad back and I have arthritis. We can't raise a baby. So what's the plan? You and James, she said, like it was obvious. You're young, stable, you have the space. Mom, no. The word came out harder than I meant it to. She actually stepped back. Excuse me? James and we're not having kids. We've talked about this. This is different. This is Rachel's baby. This is family. I understand that, but it doesn't change. She's your niece. My mom's voice rose, heads turned. Your sister just died and you're going to let her baby go to strangers? There are other options. Adoption, foster care. You're talking about Rachel's daughter like she's a stray dog. My mom was crying now, mascara running. How can you be so cold? I wasn't cold. I was being realistic. But I couldn't say that, not there, not surrounded by grieving relatives who were already whispering. The lawyer, Margaret, called me the next week. I'm handling Rachel's estate. There's the matter of guardianship. My parents can't take her. I'm aware. There's no father listed on the birth certificate, no will, no designated guardian. The state will get involved unless a family member steps forward. That would typically be you. What if I don't? Silence on the line. Then, She'd enter the foster system, potentially be adopted by a non-relative. Is that bad? It's not ideal. Emma's 6 months old. She's healthy, she's young, she'd likely find a placement. But there's no guarantee of how long that takes or who she'd end up with. Something in my chest tightened. I need to think about it. Of course. But Alice, I have to be honest. If you say no, people will remember that. I talked to James that night. We sat in our living room, our quiet, organized, child-free living room, and I laid it out. It's not just about raising a baby, I said. It's about Rachel's baby. She was irresponsible. She didn't plan for this. And now we're supposed to upend our entire lives because she didn't? It sounds harsh when you put it like that, James said carefully. But is it wrong? He thought for a long time. I don't want kids. I've never wanted kids. But I also don't want you to regret this in 10 years. I won't regret it. I know myself. Are you sure? Because everyone's going to hate us for this. Let them. But I wasn't prepared for how much they would hate us. I told Margaret 3 days later, I can't take Emma. I'm sorry, but James and I aren't equipped for this. She was professional about it. I understand. I'll start the process for foster placement. I told my parents next. That went worse. You're saying no? My dad's face went red. You're actually saying no to your own niece? Dad, I don't have a choice. You have a choice. You're choosing yourself. That's not fair. Rachel would have done it for you. My mom was screaming now. If you died, Rachel would have taken your kids. I don't have kids. That's the point. I made a decision about my life, and now a baby suffers because of it. The conversation ended with them hanging up on me. They haven't spoken to me since. Then the family found out. My Aunt Carol called me a selfish bitch on Facebook. My cousin posted a vague status about people who abandon family when it matters most. Someone created a group chat without me called Emma's Village, where they apparently discussed what a terrible person I was. My uncle forwarded me a screenshot. Alice always thought she was too good for us. Now we know what she really is. James's family wasn't much better. His mother called crying. How can you live with yourself? Susan, I know this is hard to understand. You're letting that baby go into the system. Do you know what happens to kids in foster care? Actually, many kids in foster care are adopted into loving homes. Don't you dare give me statistics. This is a human being. Even James started to waver. Maybe we could try? Try? I stared at him. You don't try with a baby. You commit or you don't. I know, everyone's saying, everyone's not living our life. The final straw came last week. Margaret called with an update. We found a couple interested in adopting Emma. They're in their early 30s, financially stable, been trying to adopt for 2 years. They seem wonderful. That's good. There's a complication. Your mother is contesting the adoption. She's filed a petition for grandparents' rights, claiming she can care for Emma with family support. She said she couldn't. She's changed her mind, or the family pressure changed it for her. My mom's trying to take Emma, the same woman who told me she was too old, who has arthritis and can barely lift groceries. And I know why, because keeping Emma in the family means she can hold it over me forever. Proof that she stepped up when I wouldn't. I drove to my parents' house yesterday. Emma was there, crying in a portable crib while my mom microwaved a bottle. She looked exhausted. Mom, you can't do this. Watch me. You told me you couldn't handle a baby. I'll figure it out, because that's what family does. Emma's wails got louder. The bottle exploded in the microwave. My mom started crying too, and I stood there frozen because the entire situation was so fucked up. This isn't about Emma, I said quietly. This is about punishing me. Everything isn't about you, Alice. A baby needs a home. Then let her go to the couple who wants her. Let her have parents who actually choose her instead of taking her out of obligation. You think giving her to strangers is better than family? Yes, if the family is taking her to prove a point. My mom's face went cold. Get out of my house. I left. I cried the whole drive home. And now I'm here, writing this, because I genuinely don't know anymore. Am I the asshole for refusing to raise my dead sister's baby? Everyone says I am. They say blood is thicker than water, that Emma deserves family, that I'm condemning her to a life of foster care trauma. They say I'm selfish, heartless, that I'll regret this. But here's what they don't say. Rachel made choices. She chose to have a baby without a support system, without financial stability, without even naming a father. She chose to keep living recklessly, driving at midnight, running red lights. And now I'm supposed to pay for those choices with the next 18 years of my life? I didn't ask for this. I didn't sign up for this. And yet I'm the villain because I won't sacrifice everything I've built to fix someone else's mess. James barely talks to me now. He sleeps on the couch most nights. Yesterday he said, "Maybe they're right. Maybe we should take her." I asked him if he actually wanted Emma or if he just wanted people to stop hating us. He didn't answer. My best friend Sarah, the only person still talking to me, says I'm not wrong, but I'm not right either. Technically, you're allowed to say no, but morally, that baby didn't choose this either. So here I am, sitting in my quiet house with my intact career and my child-free lifestyle and my family that won't speak to me. Emma's in a temporary foster home now while the legal stuff gets sorted. My mom might get her. The adopting couple might get her. Either way, I'm the villain of this story. Margaret called this morning. The adoption proceedings are moving forward, but Alice, your mother's petition has some weight. The court tends to favor family. Even if family can't actually care for her, family is family. And that's the problem, isn't it? Everyone thinks DNA matters more than capability, that loving someone from a distance is the same as raising them, that saying yes to something you don't want makes you noble instead of resentful. I keep thinking about Emma, not as a symbol of my sister or a test of my character, but as an actual person. What kind of life would she have with me, with someone who didn't choose her, who sees her as an obligation, versus with people who spent 2 years trying to adopt, who want nothing more than to be parents? But then I see the comments. How can you live with yourself? That baby needs you. Blood is everything. Is it? Is blood enough? Or is it just guilt dressed up as love? I don't know anymore. All I know is that I said no, and now everyone, my family, my friends, my husband, strangers on the internet, thinks I'm the villain. Maybe I am. Maybe saying no to a baby automatically makes you the bad guy, no matter what your reasons are. The court date is in 3 weeks. Whatever happens, I know one thing. There's no coming back from this. Either Emma goes to the adopting couple and my family never forgives me, or my mom gets her and raises her with stories about Aunt Alice who didn't want her, or I cave and take her and spend the rest of my life resenting everyone involved. There's no good ending here, just different versions of bad. So tell me, am I the asshole? The text message came at 3 a.m., 2 days after I left my mom's house. Unknown number. You don't deserve to sleep peacefully while that baby cries herself to sleep in foster care. Hope you're proud of yourself. I showed James in the morning. He barely looked at it. Are you surprised? I'm surprised someone I don't even know has my number. Your family probably gave it out, or posted it online. Who knows at this point? He was making coffee, not looking at me. We'd been living like roommates for weeks, polite, distant, sleeping in separate rooms. The Emma situation had cracked something between us that I didn't know how to fix. "We need to talk," I said. "I have a meeting at 9. James." He finally turned around. "What do you want me to say, Alice? That I support your decision?" "I do. Technically. But I also have to live in this world where everyone thinks my wife is a monster." "So you do think I'm a monster?" "I think—" He stopped, ran his hands through his hair. "I think you're not wrong. But I also think maybe being right isn't enough sometimes." "What does that mean?" "It means I don't know if I can keep defending you when I'm not sure I believe what I'm saying anymore." My stomach dropped. "Are you leaving me?" "I don't know. Maybe. I don't know." He left for work. I called in sick and spent the day on the couch, numb. The messages kept coming. 3 more unknown numbers. Then someone found my work email. My boss forwarded me a message from a concerned citizen saying the company should fire me for lacking basic human compassion. I had to explain to HR that it was a personal family matter. "We're not taking any action," my manager said carefully. "But Alice, maybe keep a low profile for a while." Even my job was being threatened now. Sarah called that afternoon. "I need to tell you something and you're not going to like it." "What else is new?" "Your Aunt Carol posted about this on Facebook, like the full story. Your name, Emma's name, everything. It's been shared 847 times. My hands went cold. "What?" "There's a whole thread. People calling you every name you can imagine. Someone started a GoFundMe for Emma's future that already has $12,000. Carol's positioning herself as the family member fighting for justice. Send me the link. Alice, send it." The post was worse than I imagined. My niece Alice has refused to take in her sister's orphaned baby. Rachel, my beautiful niece who tragically died last month, left behind a 6-month-old daughter, Emma, and Alice won't step up. She says she's child-free, and it would interfere with her lifestyle. A baby, a family member, and she's worried about her lifestyle. Meanwhile, this precious angel is in foster care with strangers. If anyone wants to help Emma's future, please donate. Rachel deserved better. Emma deserves better. Alice should be ashamed. The comments were brutal. "This is the most selfish thing I've ever heard." Child-free people are so narcissistic. A baby needs you and you're worried about your Peloton time? I hope she never has biological kids. She doesn't deserve them. Someone should dox her employer. Let them know what kind of person they're employing. If I knew where she lived, I'd show up at her door and ask her to her face how she sleeps at night. There were a few defenders. She has a right to her own life. We don't know the full story. Forcing someone to parent is how you get abused kids, but they were drowned out. The mob had decided. I called Carol. She answered on the first ring, like she'd been waiting. "How dare you?" I said. "How dare I? How dare you, Alice? Rachel's not even cold in the ground. You had no right to post about this publicly. That's Emma's private information." "Oh, now you care about Emma. Where was that concern when you dumped her in foster care?" "I didn't dump her anywhere. I made an impossible decision. The decision was easy. Family takes care of family. You chose not to be family. Then why didn't you take her, Carol? You're so concerned." "I'm 61 years old with a husband on disability. I can't—" "Exactly. You can't. Neither can Mom and Dad. But I'm the villain because I was honest about it instead of pretending I could do something I can't." She hung up on me. The post stayed up. That night, James came home late. I went to my parents' house. "Okay. They think I should leave you." The words hung in the air like smoke. "And what do you think?" "I think I think I didn't sign up for this. We agreed on a child-free life, but I also didn't sign up for being a social pariah. My mom won't talk to me. My sister blocked me on Instagram. My coworkers keep asking if everything's okay in this tone, like they know something's wrong. So you're punishing me for other people's reactions. I'm not punishing you. I'm telling you that I'm drowning here, Alice. Every day it's something new. Some new person telling me my wife is a terrible human being. And I defend you, and I defend you, and I defend you, but it's exhausting. Then stop defending me to people who won't listen anyway. That's not how marriage works. Apparently marriage is when you leave your wife because standing by her is too hard. He grabbed his keys. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. James. The door slammed. I sat in the dark for hours. My phone kept buzzing, notifications from Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn. People were finding me everywhere. I turned my phone off and poured a glass of wine, then another, then a third. The next morning, Margaret called with another update. The court date's been moved up, 10 days from now. Why? Your mother's lawyer pushed for expedited hearing. They're arguing that Emma's in temporary foster care when she has willing family ready to take her. Is my mom really willing? Or is she just trying to win? Margaret paused. Between you and me, I visited your mother yesterday. Emma was there for a supervised visit. Your mom looked tired. Really tired. Emma cried for 40 minutes straight and your mom couldn't calm her down. The social worker had to step in. So she can't actually do this. Legally, she might still have a case. Family preference is strong. But practically, I don't think she can sustain it. What about the adoptive couple? They're ready. Eager, actually. But if your mother gets custody, that option disappears. So Emma ends up with someone who can't care for her, just to keep her in the family. It's a possibility. I thought about calling my mom, trying one more time to reason with her, but what was the point? She'd made me the enemy. This wasn't about Emma anymore. It was about proving I was wrong. My brother Lucas called that afternoon. We hadn't spoken in weeks. Hey, I need to say something and I need you to just listen. I braced myself for another lecture. Mom can't do this, he said quietly. I was over there yesterday and Alice, she's falling apart. Dad's trying to help, but he threw his back out lifting the car seat. Emma screams every time Mom holds her because she's stressed and babies sense that. It's a disaster. Then why is she fighting for custody? Because the entire family is watching. Aunt Carol, Uncle Rob, everyone. They're all waiting to see if she'll step up. If she backs out now, she looks just as bad as you. I didn't make her do this. I know, but she can't lose face. Not after the Facebook post and the GoFundMe and telling everyone she's saving Emma. So what's the solution? Long pause. I think you might have to take her. My blood ran cold. Lucas, just hear me out. If you take Emma, even temporarily, it gets Mom off the hook. The family sees that someone stepped up. You and James could foster her until the adoption goes through. Absolutely not. Alice, you want me to take a baby I don't want, disrupt my entire life, probably destroy my marriage, just so Mom doesn't look bad? I want you to consider that there might not be a good option here, just less bad ones. The adoptive couple is the less bad option. For Emma, maybe. But what about the rest of us? What about Mom's health, Dad's back, your marriage to James, the family relationships? You're asking me to sacrifice all of that anyway. I'm asking you to consider a temporary solution while we figure out long-term. No. I already said no. I'm not saying it again. I hung up. My hands were shaking. That night, I did something I'm not proud of. I looked up the adoptive couple. Margaret had mentioned their first names in passing, David and Christina. I found them on Facebook after 20 minutes of searching. Their profile was private, but I could see their profile pictures. They looked normal, happy, mid-30s, like Margaret said. Photos of them hiking at a wedding with a golden retriever. I wanted to message them, to say, please take her. Please give her the life she deserves with people who chose her. But that would be insane, and possibly illegal. So I just looked at their pictures and thought about what Emma's life could be. The next day, my mom's sister, Aunt Diane, the reasonable one, called me. I need to tell you something. More bad news. Carol's trying to get power of attorney over Emma. She's arguing that your mom's too old and you're unfit, so she should have legal say. Carol didn't want her either. Carol wants control. She's always been like this. Remember when your grandma died and she tried to take over the estate? I did remember. It had been a nightmare. So what happens if Carol gets power of attorney? She makes decisions for Emma. Medical, educational, placement, everything. And knowing Carol, she'll drag this out for years and make everyone miserable while she plays martyr. This is insane. It is, which is why I'm calling. Alice, have you considered that maybe the best thing you can do for Emma is exactly what you're doing? I almost dropped the phone. What? Let her go to the couple. Let her have a real chance with parents who want her. Your mom can't do it. Carol's a nightmare. You don't want to. The system isn't always bad. Sometimes it's actually the solution. Then why is everyone crucifying me? Because people are stupid and scared, and they think DNA matters more than capability. But I've been a social worker for 30 years, Alice. I've seen what happens when kids are raised by family members who resent them. It's worse than any foster home. I started crying. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just hold your ground. 10 more days. 10 more days. James came home that night. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For making this about me. For not being stronger. You're dealing with impossible pressure, and I added to it. Does this mean you're not leaving? I don't know what it means, but I'm here tonight. We can figure out tomorrow. We sat together on the couch, not talking, just existing in the same space. It wasn't much, but it was something. The day before the court hearing, Margaret called with the final twist. Your mother withdrew her petition. What? She called this morning. She said she can't do it. The social worker's report noted concerns about her capability, and she decided not to fight it. Relief and dread mixed together in my chest. So Emma goes to David and Christina? Most likely, unless someone else from the family steps forward in the next 24 hours. And Carol? Doesn't have standing without your mother's petition. It's over, Alice. You won. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. I called my mom. She answered, voice thin and tired. I know why you're calling. Why did you withdraw? Because Diane told me the truth. That I was doing this for the wrong reasons. That Emma deserved better than an old woman trying to prove a point. Mom, you were right, Alice. I can't do this. I thought I could. I thought family was enough, but it's not. Emma needs more than I can give. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you relieved? Both. Neither. Everything. I'm sorry this happened to any of us, I said finally. Me too. But Alice, I don't think I can forgive you for this. Maybe someday, but not now. I understand. She hung up. The court hearing was brief. The judge reviewed the case, noted there were no family members willing and able to take custody, and granted the adoption petition to David and Christina. They were there, sitting in the back row. I saw Christina wipe away tears when the judge made it official. I wanted to talk to them, to tell them to love her, to give her everything Rachel couldn't. But what would I even say? Here's the niece I abandoned. Treat her well. So I said nothing. I watched them leave with their lawyer, probably going to meet Emma for the first time as her parents. And I went home. James was waiting. How did it go? It's done. She's theirs. How do you feel? I don't know. Empty? Relieved? Guilty? All of it. He pulled me into a hug. We'll get through this. I wanted to believe him. The Facebook post is still up. 200 shares now. The comments still call me every name imaginable. The GoFundMe has $18,000. Carol says she's putting it in a trust for Emma's college fund, though I don't know how she'll access it since she doesn't have custody. My family hasn't spoken to me since the hearing. Thanksgiving is next week. I'm not invited. Sarah says it'll blow over eventually. In 6 months, they'll find someone else to be mad at. But I don't think that's true. I think I'll always be the aunt who said no. The woman who let her niece go to strangers. The villain of this story. And maybe I am. Maybe choosing yourself over a baby always makes you the villain, no matter what the circumstances are. Maybe DNA really is supposed to be enough, and I'm just defective for thinking it isn't. I don't have answers, just the knowledge that Emma's safe now with people who wanted her, and the question of whether that was worth everything it cost. 6 months have passed since the court hearing. Emma is now 1 year old. I know this because Christina posted a picture on Facebook, a public post, maybe intentionally so I could see it. Emma in a high chair with frosting on her face, David and Christina beaming on either side. Our girl is 1. Best year of our lives. Thank you for choosing us to be your parents. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes. Emma looked happy, healthy, loved, and I felt relief, guilt, grief for something I never had. All of it, tangled together in my chest like barbed wire. James found me crying at the kitchen table. Are you okay? I don't know. She's 1. Emma's 1, and I didn't even know until I saw it online. He sat down across from me. You made the right choice. Then why does it still hurt? Because it was never going to not hurt. That's what makes it complicated. We've been in couples therapy for 4 months now. It was his idea after we spent 3 weeks barely speaking, circling each other like wounded animals. Dr. Martinez has helped us understand that we weren't actually fighting about Emma. We were fighting about expectations, about what it means to stand by someone when the whole world is against them, about whether being technically right is the same as being actually right. You both made a decision based on your values, Dr. Martinez said in our last session. The question isn't whether it was right or wrong. The question is whether you can live with it. Can I? Thanksgiving came and went without me. Christmas, too. My parents sent a card with no return address, just from Mom and Dad, in my mother's handwriting. No message inside, just the printed greeting. I cried when I opened it, though I'm not sure if it was because they sent it or because of what they didn't say. Lucas calls every few weeks. He's the only one. Mom's not doing well, he told me in January. Dad's worried about her. She barely leaves the house. Is it about Emma? It's about everything. Rachel, Emma, you, the whole family falling apart. I didn't make it fall apart. I know, but it did anyway. We don't talk about blame anymore. There's too much of it and not enough, all at the same time. Carol's still posting about Emma periodically. She's positioned herself as the family guardian angel who saved the GoFundMe money for Emma's future. She posts updates like, thinking of my grandniece today. She may be with strangers, but she's not forgotten. Every post makes my stomach turn. Emma isn't with strangers. She's with her parents. But Carol needs her narrative where I'm the villain and she's the hero, so facts don't matter. I blocked her eventually. Sarah said that was healthy. You don't need to torture yourself with her performance art. The messages have mostly stopped. Every few weeks, someone new discovers the story and sends me something hateful, but it's manageable now. I changed my phone number, made my social media private, learned to exist in smaller, quieter ways. Work has been better. The initial awkwardness faded when nothing dramatic happened. No arrest, no scandal, just a woman who made a choice people disagreed with. My boss actually promoted me in February. You've shown incredible focus during a difficult time, she said. I almost laughed. Focus. Sure. Or maybe just the ability to compartmentalize trauma. But the real rupture came 3 weeks ago. My dad had a heart attack. Not fatal, but serious enough for bypass surgery. Lucas called me from the hospital. You should come. Does Mom want me there? I don't know. But Dad might not make it through this, Alice. Whatever else is happening, he's still your father. I drove to the hospital in a haze. James came with me. I'm here if you need me, he said, squeezing my hand in the parking lot. But this is your family. You decide how to handle it. My family. The phrase felt strange, foreign, like trying on clothes that no longer fit. Mom was in the waiting room with Lucas and Aunt Diane. When she saw me, her face did something complicated. Relief, anger, grief, all flickering across her features in seconds. Alice. Mom, how is he? In surgery, they said 3 hours. She looked smaller than I remembered, older. Thank you for coming. We sat in silence. Lucas tried to make conversation, weather, work, anything neutral. But the weight of everything unsaid pressed down on us like a physical force. Finally, after an hour, Mom spoke. I saw Christina's post about Emma's birthday. My chest tightened. Yeah, she looks happy. She does. They look like good people, David and Christina. Margaret said they are. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I wanted to hate them. I wanted them to be terrible so I could justify everything. But they're not, are they? No. And you knew that. When you said no, you knew she'd be better with them than with any of us. I couldn't speak, just nodded. I've been so angry at you, Mom continued, voice breaking. For 6 months I've been furious at you, at Rachel, at God, at everyone. Because if I stopped being angry, I'd have to admit that maybe you were right, that maybe I was fighting for the wrong thing. Mom, let me finish, please. She wiped her eyes. I couldn't take care of Emma. I knew it that first week. Every night she cried and I couldn't calm her down and my hands hurt from arthritis and your father's back gave out and I thought, I'm going to fail this baby. But I couldn't admit it because everyone was watching. Carol, the family, Facebook. They all expected me to be the grandmother who stepped up. So I kept trying even though it was killing me. Why didn't you tell me? Because you were supposed to be the villain. That was easier. If you were wrong, then I didn't have to question anything else. Lucas reached over and took Mom's hand. Aunt Diane put her arm around her shoulders, and I sat there, absorbing this confession I'd waited 6 months to hear. Rachel made choices, Mom said quietly. Bad choices, reckless choices. And I enabled them because she was my baby and I couldn't admit she wasn't okay. When she died, all that guilt had to go somewhere. So I put it on you. I could have taken Emma, I said. Technically, I had the space, the money, but not the desire. And that matters, Alice. I've been thinking about it for months. What kind of life would Emma have had with someone who didn't want her? Who looked at her every day and saw obligation instead of joy? Maybe worse than any foster home. The words hung between us like a bridge. Fragile, but there. Dad made it through surgery. When he woke up, he asked for me first. I sat by his bed while he was still groggy from anesthesia. Alice, I'm here, Dad. I'm sorry for not standing up for you. When your mother, when everyone... His words were slurred but clear enough. You were brave. Braver than me. Dad, rest. No. Need to say, you did the right thing. For Emma. For you. Both matter. I held his hand and cried. The family hasn't magically forgiven me. Most of them still don't talk to me. Carol still posts her martyr updates. Cousins still whisper at family events I'm not invited to. But Mom and Dad are speaking to me again. Lucas never stopped. Aunt Diane sends me recipes and asks about work. It's not everything, but it's something. James and I are better too. Stronger, maybe, for having survived this. I understand now, he told me last week. Why you had to say no. It wasn't about not loving Emma. It was about knowing yourself well enough to recognize what you couldn't do. That's not selfish. That's honest. People don't see it that way. People don't have to live your life. You do. I still think about Emma. Probably always will. I wonder if she'll ever know about me, the aunt who said no. Will Christina and David tell her? Will Carol show her the Facebook posts when she's older? Will she hate me for it? Or will she just live her life happy and loved with parents who chose her from the beginning? Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's actually the best possible outcome. Sarah asked me last month if I regret it. Honestly, no. I regret how it happened. I regret that Rachel died. I regret the way the family fell apart. But saying no to Emma? No. Because the alternative wasn't me happily raising her. It was me resenting her, struggling with her, probably failing her in ways worse than any adoption ever could. And she deserved better than that. Even if it makes you the villain. Even then. Because here's what I've learned. There's no version of this story where everyone is happy. Rachel's dead. Emma's an orphan. A family is fractured. Those are tragedies that exist regardless of what I chose. My decision didn't create the tragedy. It just determined how we'd respond to it. Could I have said yes and made it work? Maybe. People do harder things every day, but making it work isn't the same as doing it well. It's not the same as wanting it, and a child deserves more than someone who's just making it work. David and Christina wanted Emma, fought for her, prepared for her, chose her not out of obligation but out of genuine desire to be parents. Emma got two people who see her as their dream come true, not their burden. How is that the worst outcome? But people don't think that way. People think DNA equals love. That family means sacrifice. That saying yes to things you don't want is noble and saying no is selfish. And maybe they're right. Maybe I am selfish for choosing my life over a baby's need for family. I don't have a neat conclusion. No redemption arc where everyone forgives me and realizes I was right all along. Mom and Dad are speaking to me, but it's strained. Half the family still hates me. My marriage survived but has scars. I'm not invited to holidays. Carol's still performing her guardian angel routine online. And Emma's growing up with people I'll probably never meet. Is that okay? I think it has to be. Because I can't change it now. Can't go back and choose differently. Can only move forward with the knowledge that I made the best decision I could with an impossible situation. Sometimes I imagine an alternate timeline, one where I said yes, where Emma's in the room next door right now, and James and I are exhausted and stressed and arguing about whose turn it is for 2 a.m. feeding. Where our careers have stalled and our relationship is strained, and we look at each other with resentment instead of love. Where Emma grows up sensing she wasn't wanted, that she disrupted a life that didn't have room for her. Would that be better? I don't think so. But I'll never know for sure. What I do know, Emma's first birthday looked joyful. Her parents looked happy. She looked loved. And somewhere in the middle of all this pain and judgment and family rupture, maybe that's the thing that actually matters. Not who raised her, but that she's being raised well. I'm not the aunt who took her in. I'm the aunt who let her go. History will remember me as the villain. Carol's Facebook posts will make sure of that. My family's whispers will cement it. Emma might grow up hearing about the aunt who said no, but she'll grow up with parents who wanted her, in a home that was ready for her, with love that wasn't obligatory. And if that makes me the villain of this story, I can live with that. Because the alternative, taking her out of guilt, raising her out of obligation, and having her grow up knowing she was the burden that destroyed someone's life, that would make me a different kind of villain. One I couldn't live with being. So no, I don't regret it. I regret the circumstances, the tragedy, the loss, but my decision, I'd make it again, even if no one else understands. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Who's the Villain, AITA, for more complex moral dilemmas. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate my decision? And tell me honestly in the comments, am I the villain in this story? I really want to know what you think.